Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome to another exciting edition of Bhagavatam Bites. You can see we found ourselves a nice rooftop terrace. You can't really get the full experience of the view. We've got a 360-degree view of when I'm looking at it. It's not New York. When I'm looking at it, it reminds me of like
Greece.
Italy or Spain or Greece or somewhere Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Because there's so much terracotta in the thing.
Yeah.
But actually we're in Arlington, Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C., and near Potomac, near the Potomac Temple, the ISKCON of D.C.
Yeah.
And Radhanath Maharaj will be here tomorrow. And we were just in Gita Nagari. I've got my Gita Valley shirt on. We were there for the 20th anniversary of the Tirubhav, or disappearance, of His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami, and it was an amazing mega event.
Yeah, it was.
If you can search it out, find some, I think they had it, a lot of it was live streamed.
On their YouTube, Gita Nagari.
On the Gita Nagari
YouTube.
Amazing talks, amazing remembrances of just an incredible personality who made such a deep and profound impression in the heart of so many people. His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami. Many have heard of him and know of him. We were both fortunate to have the opportunity to have some of his Sangha before he departed from this world in London. Bhava Bhakti had much more than I did. Yeah, just a great personality. While we were there, we met some devotees.
Yeah, lovely devotees who watch this vlog.
Yeah, so we're going to flash up a picture now. We've got Palaka Prabhu and his wonderful wife. And you have to send us a message, Palaka Prabhu, because I've forgotten your wife's name already, but I remember you have two twin boys, Krishna and Balaram.
Yeah.
And we are looking forward to catching up with them and trying to do a Bhagavatam Bites session with them.
Yeah.
Because we found out they live in Brooklyn. In fact, Mataji's mother is Shobha, and she's like one of the main pujaris, dear Lord, and Brooklyn Temple, and her father, they're like stalwart devotees of the Brooklyn Temple, and I've heard about her so much, and I know, she's all of them, such a special family, and we were just really honored to meet them and see them, and they kind of came up to us and said, "Oh, you guys do that thing," and we were like, "What?"
Yeah.
So
we don't get that often.
No. So
it's quite nice.
So it's nice. If anyone out there ever sees this, you can make us feel good by saying, "Yeah, we watch your show." So we're giving a shout out to them, and nice to see you, and looking forward to connecting. So, but what we're here to do is read from Bhagavatam.
All right, Canto 4, Chapter 25, Text 10.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 10. My dear king, once in the past lived a king named Puranjana, who was celebrated for his great activities. He had a friend named Avijnata, the unknown one. Avijata.
No, Avigyata.
Avigyata.
Gya, like Gyan, Gyata.
No one could understand the activities of Avigyata. Popo. Every living entity is Puranjana. The word Puram means within this body, within this form, and Jana means living entity. Thus, everyone is Puranjana. Every living entity is supposed to be the king of his body because the living entity is given full freedom to use his body as he likes. He usually engages his body for sense gratification because one who is in the bodily conception of life feels that the ultimate goal of life is to serve the senses. This is the process of karma kanda. One who has no inner knowledge, who does not know that he is actually the spirit soul living within the body, who is simply enamored by the dictation of the senses, is called a materialist. A materialistic person interested in sense gratification can be called a Puranjana. Because such a materialistic person utilizes his senses according to his whims, He may also be called a king. An irresponsible king takes the royal position to be his personal property and misuses his treasury for sense gratification. Interesting. That we are the... I forgot what I was going to say now. How every living entity is said is supposed to be the king of his body. Yeah, that's interesting. Like, just that we should look after that body, not abuse it, and keep it healthy. Obviously not to the point that we get distracted by the body and other bodies, but the fact is it is in our care, and while we're in this material world, it actually facilitates our devotional service, because it's like entering the moon. And if you enter the moon, we didn't really go there, but pretend we went there. If you enter the moon, you have to put on an astronaut's outfit. You can't just go like and walk out the Sputnik, as Prabhupada called it, the airship, what was it? Spaceship. You have to put on an outfit. So to enter this material world, the spirit soul has to put on an outfit, which is the material body, the conditioned spirit soul. So if you think about it, it's actually really valuable. When you're a neophyte, you're like, oh, anti-material body, oh, neglect it, oh, wear funny clothes, you know, don't eat properly. Why not? Because, you know, we're not this material body. Actually, if you understand that properly, it's actually facilitating your connection with Krishna. So when you look at it like that, you think, I want to look after it for the sake of the fact that it is, while I'm in this material world, allowing me to reconnect with my beloved.
And she doesn't mean me, she means Krishna.
Yeah.
Okay. Next paragraph. The word Brihachrava is also significant. The word Shravaha means fame. The living entity is famous from ancient times, for as stated in Bhagavad Gita 2.20, Nijayate Mriyate Va. The living entity is never born and never dies. Because he is eternal, his activities are eternal, although they are performed in different types of bodies. Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. He does not die, even after the annihilation of the body. Thus, the living entity transmigrates from one body to another and performs various activities. In each body, the living entity performs so many acts. Sometimes he becomes a great hero, just like Hiranyakashipu and Kamsa, or in modern age, Napoleon or Hitler. Whoa. Okay, I mean, we're going to have to come back to that. Heroes like Hiranyakashipu and Kamsa, and then he compares that to Napoleon and Hitler. The activities of such men are certainly very great, but as soon as their bodies are finished, everything else is finished. Then they remain in name only. Therefore, a living entity may be called Brihachravaha. He may have a great reputation for various types of activities. Nonetheless, he has a friend whom he does not know. Materialistic persons do not understand that God is present as the Supersoul, who is situated within the heart of every living entity. Although the Paramatma sits beside the Jivatma as a friend, the Jivatma or living entity does not know it. Consequently, he is described as Avigyata Saka, meaning one who has an unknown friend. Interesting. The word Avigyata Chestitaha is also significant because a living entity works hard under the direction of the Paramatma and is carried away by the laws of nature. Nonetheless, he thinks himself independent of God, independent of the stringent laws of material nature. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita 2.24, Chedyo yammadayo yammakledyo shoshaevacha nitya sarvagatasthano achalo yam sanatanaha. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble and can neither be burned nor dried. He is everlasting, all-pervading, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. Yeah, of course, the part that stands out here is how Prabhupada is talking about this word Brihachravaha, meaning, and Prabhupada says that the word Shrava means fame. Brihachravaha excuse me, is a conjunction of Shravaha. Now, Shravanam means hearing. So I'm presuming this is also kind of coming from Shravaha, that we hear. We hear about often famous people. But why, of all people, does Prabhupada first say that you become a great hero, like Hiranyakashipu and Kamsa? I mean, that's the first thing that's like, strikes me as kind of interesting. Like, you know, you wouldn't, I mean, they're the villains, for God's sakes. You know, they're the bad guys. So you wouldn't normally call them heroes. But I'm guessing and thinking that Prabhupada is discussing this from the perspective of someone a materialistic person who becomes famous, for their great deeds, and doesn't really understand God's presence. So therefore he is avigyata chestitaha. And then Prabhupada compares Hiranyakashipu and Kamsa to Napoleon or Hitler. And of course, in many places, Hitler or Napoleon is definitely considered a bit of a hero. In fact, that is Napoleon in Trafalgar Square, isn't it? I know when we were, not so long ago, we were in Paris actually, and there was a whole discussion around this, how in general Prabhupada has a kind of a derogatory understanding of Napoleon, as probably many people do. Hitler, I guess, was considered a hero by many, but of course he's much more infamous than famous. So, but it's interesting that Prabhupada compares them: Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Napoleon, and Hitler. So obviously there's definitely a demoniac reference to people who are considered heroes and considered also famous. And of course we know who all of them are, so like that. So it continues there.
Yeah, I was also thinking from Hiranyakashipu and Kamsa's side, because they have a backstory and we know who that is, you know.
Well, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa also, but his backstory is as well known, but yeah. And
so then when I heard those names, I was thinking that. Now, obviously, I don't know the backstory of Napoleon or Hitler and why they came and did what they did and were chosen to do what they did. It's very controversial, and it's actually, Lord, if you know, I mean, we know people that take to this process or tentatively take, but then they stumble when they come across what's said in the Bhagavad Gita about women being less intelligent and this and that. My Lord, if they come across something like this, you know.
Well, I mean, in one place, Prabhupada refers to Hitler as,
Shakti of Ace.
Yeah, a sort of,
Which
an empowered representative of, because he had the ability to control people.
To control, and just that demonic, like, because in our path it isn't the devil and the divine. It's, you know, like Christianity or whatever, it's almost like the devil can overpower the divine. It's like Krishna's in control of everything. And somehow is what it's like, I don't mean this in a glorification way, but they were, you know, Hitler was empowered to do evil, if that makes sense. Or even that's getting a bit controversial. You know, like he had to, like Prabhupada said, he had to be some Shakti Avesha empowered to control so many minds, for heaven's sake, so to do this. Oh, Lord. I think that's 4th of July fireworks, is it?
No, it's a car backfiring, but it sounded like gunshots.
You never know in America, you know.
You definitely don't.
You really don't. Anyway, let's move on.
Okay, you're the one holding this up.
Oh, sorry, everyone. The living entity is Sanatan, eternal. Because he cannot be killed by any weapon, burnt into ashes by fire, soaked or moistened by water, nor dried up by air, he is considered to be immune to material reactions. Although he is changing bodies, he is not affected by the material conditions. He is placed under the material conditions and he acts according to the directions of his friend, the Super Soul, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 15:15. Sarvasya chaham ridhi shani mishto matasmite jnanam apavanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness. Thus the Lord as Paramatma is situated in everyone's heart, and he gives directions to the living entity to act in whatever way the living entity desires. In this life and in his previous lives, the living entity does not know that the Lord has given him a chance to fulfill all kinds of desires. No one can fulfill any desire without the sanction of the Lord. All the facilities given by the Lord are unknown to the conditioned soul.
By the way, there's a little living entity sitting over here.
Yeah, a pigeon is
Just
listening.
a pigeon literally sitting there
It's
listening.
just listening.
Just about the beginning of our reading. But anyway, carry on. Sorry.
Well, I can't because you took the thing away.
All right. No problem. I thought it was too heavy for you and you were...
That's the sanction, isn't it? I know. What do you do? Alright. So the living entity is eternal and it can't be killed. What part stood out for me? He acts according to the directions of his friend, the Super Soul. I thought that was nice. How the Lord brings remembrance. And I was thinking, because some devotees were asking yesterday, how did you come to Krishna consciousness? And I was thinking, yeah, isn't it interesting how when you're in a family who you're brought up by the same parents or relatives and whatnot, and somehow it's almost like being a spiritual sleeper agent. You know, you come into contact with certain people and personalities, and it's almost like, yeah, Krishna's directed me that way, and this one went that way, and this one went that way, and it's like, no, you go there, you know, you pick up that, and then you remember, oh, I like doing this, oh, yeah, it's almost like you don't even think about it, you just do it, you know? You just do it. It's interesting, and that's why that stood out. It's like having someone, like if you've got amnesia and someone puts you in an environment that's familiar, and you're like, I think I know this, you know? Or you just feel comfortable there and you don't know why, you know?
So you're saying like taking birth in a kind of pious kind of Hindu Indian family, you felt natural in that environment in your upbringing, and then later taking to Krishna consciousness was easy or something like that?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay. All right. So I think we'll stop there.
Yeah, sorry,
next purport.
pigeon.
Next purport.
It's even looking at us.
Yeah, next purport is a little longer, and yeah, so we'll keep it short and sweet. Nice to have you with us again. Thank you very much for tuning in. Please, please, please read the Srimad Bhagavatam and continue to like,
Subscribe,
share.
comment.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.